I am Majed Abusalama. And yeah, I'm a refugee. I was born as a refugee. I think this is my main identity at this moment. I'm a political advisor and I'm a researcher, writer, and I'm a political activist. I do what I can to liberate my people. I grew up in Jabalia refugee camp in the north of Gaza Strip. I grew up in the first Intifada with a father who has spent 18 years in jail as a political prisoner. We're in a house which is very political, which was always raided. When my mother was alone with my other sister, together in one room in a family house, always was raided, destroyed by the Israeli soldier because of the role of my father in the first Intifada, trying to liberate us. So I've learned to stand in front of the legs of my mom to defend to defend them and resist and look very with my eyes on fire at the soldiers, telling them I'm not intimidated. I'm not gonna be your victim. Actually, we learn to not cry. We learn to not shake. We learn to not panic. So this is who we are. I'm proud of who we are. Coming with such legacy of my grandmothers fighting the settler colonial soldiers brutally attacking my house to actually seeing my father strongly standing and not shaking and seeing my mom going to work still while having three kids alone and when my father was in jail and still have to be a very strong nurse serving people during curfew time, through military curfew, not corona curfews. The oppressor has no place in our land and no place in our homes and must be actually taken out of our home. From Rwanda to Cuba to Vietnam to South Africa to West Sahara to Congo, to Sudan, to Yemen, to every place. We see ourselves in everybody, and that's beautiful. I think those was our family, our generation. My grandmother, Tamam, and my father generations and other generations taught us early on that we belong to the oppressed, and we belong to those people who have been fighting, and the others who was living in the comfort of their whiteness. The Holocaust memory culture should be in the service of justice and service of accountability, not in the service of any oppressions. The Germans don't understand that their per capita, they're paying more money to arm Israel than the people in the US. Per capita, it's really crazy that a German can't really look at their tax and see like where my taxes is actually going, Many people believe they're good humans, but how many good humans have been in the street for Palestine? Like, I don't deal with Germany as a liberal democracy, so-called, or people who actually obey to basic law of human convention or European convention. Although our party from the left to the right is actually have not given a chance for Palestine and the Palestinian to be legitimized, to be acknowledged, to be credited. Our history is not credited. Our memory is not credited. Are we seen? No, we are not seen. Are we countable in Germany? We're not countable. We are XXA. This is who we are. They don't know that Palestinians as well have actually lived on Neukölln because they have nowhere to live. That this Neukölln was the buffer zone actually between the east and the west, and that's why the largest minority of Palestinians are living in Neukölln since long ago, because they have been rejected by West Germany and left alone here to actually face their destiny after they escaped refugee camp, Lebanon massacre, Tel el-Zatar massacre, Sabra and Shatila massacres. We as Palestinians carry lots of burden and lots of responsibilities, morally and materially, to support our families back home, because we are the one who got some of the privilege, we have work around, we can manage, we don't have bombs around us. I reach a point where I'm not surprised at all from the Germans at all. And I feel like I can expect anything. I can expect them to shoot at me. I can expect it to come to some police to come and beat me in my own house, I can expect them to imprison me with my kids. So this is where I'm actually reaching with. I can expect myself to be in jail for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. I have no wonder at this moment. I don't separate them from the Israeli Zionist regime in entirety. And actually, this is what I learned through being in this movement for 10 years, and being part of Palestine Speaks. I feel I can expect anything of anti-Palestinianism from them, and I need to be prepared not only to receive the attack, but also to respond and also to attack back, because I also part of what I'm building here, and what I'm trying to work with many collective throughout the years, that we also don't stay in the defense, so but also we go to the offense, and actually, because if we are clear about who's our oppressor, if we're clear about who they are and what's their concrete goal, we see we don't exist in their concrete goal, and we shouldn't treat them the way that in a normal way, because they are not treating us in a human way. I was very proud last time I was in Berlin to see how many new people are in the streets, how many people are still 15 months after are still going out and not at all surrendering to this repression. I thought that all this repression is very hard repression. Hundreds or thousands of police has been attacking us. Hundreds of people has been imprisoned and getting fined, and for 5 months at this moment. There are the court cases running almost every 2 days, just about Palestinians, seeing all this and seeing our community still in the street. And especially, I would just say, look at those people, they're no longer as well that only people of color and people from the global south. There are migrants, there's a lot of young German as well. Brings hope as well to what is actually could happen, how much can we make disruption in the state and the system. And that's we can see as well in the universities, how the universities, I've never imagined 10 years ago I will have universities occupied. We'll have the Bali Institute students. I'm very grateful for them. We have other occupation and the Humboldt University and other in TU and FU. And it's beautiful to see this student for Palestine actually clear. They have concrete goals, they have a good structure. They are not drifted about the goal. They're not compromising in terminology as well. They know who's their enemies, and they know how to actually clearly, straightforward, actually put everyone to account within the educational systems. I think giving everybody a chance to change and to actually learn and decolonize and actually be invited to actually do action in the movement. It's a responsibility of us in the movement. The same as our responsibility in Berlin, I always say, which we have still failed a bit to do it, but we still have an opportunity. We've done it in multiple cases as well, is to reach out to neighborhoods in Berlin, going to areas which we think there are even AFD areas, a bit racist area, because I think those people, we don't make activities there. They don't see many people of color, even though people of colors now are everywhere, And I think it's important to do event there and to do advocacy there and to do as well other kind of actions there, because we need to give everybody that chance. But if people are stuck with their capitalist infrastructure and there is nobody to invite them, and they're busy with their daily capitalist life, it's hard actually to bring them in the kind of indoctrination we all see in the media. Many people are getting to the front line. Many people are not being afraid. Many people are not feeling intimidated. Many people are saying, no, I'm gonna be stubborn. That's why I'm saying about Palestinian. It's not about our resilience only. We learn to be stubborn. My story with my grandmother and my mother, when Israelis would raid our house, we all learn to be stubborn. Our stubbornness is what actually root us. It's hard to get the roots from your land if it's a very stubborn roots. You need hundreds of men to take it away, because it's just like it will keep grabbing the soul, as if no as it gives you the message that you're not allowed, and this is our stubbornness. Our stubbornness is beautiful. It's very empowering. If I tell about my life, it's just a fraction of what everybody actually in Palestine, in my refugee camp, has been going through. Because sitting in front of you today as well, and if I close my eyes for a second and I just would like to think of how many friends I have lost, and how many from my cousins, from my, in my schools, my classmate who sit with me in the same table, it's a lot of pain, and I still keep going forward. It's very I think it's a very strong manifestation of humanity, you know, because I don't have the comfort to actually sit down and just like try to rest. I can't do yoga while my people were in genocide. You know, I'm not trying to. I don't have the time to grieve and actually put enter my injuries because it's the only time for action now. It's only the time for action. It reminds me actually, Bill Hawkes have said, you know, and I love Bill Hawkes a lot. It's not about what you believe in, you know, it's about what you do and what you think you believe you can do. So it's more or less about the actions, you know. Many people tell you, I believe in those values. I have actually I think this is nice, but what you think doesn't matter. What you do, what matters. I think this is our role here in Berlin. You know, despite this repression, we have to be revivable, you know, and we have to connect our struggles, you know, other intersection struggle, of course, like feminists, environmentalists. We shouldn't let the Germans, you know, white German and anti-Deutsche hijack our own more like our own humanities, you know, and our own movements, you know, because we know what intersectionality means away from whiteness. And that's what also my vision. I always say why I'm liberating Germany, I'm decolonizing Germany, because without decolonizing Germany, I will not decolonize Palestine. I don't want to think of the dream as an illusion. No, it's a real thing, you know, that I can achieve. And my liberation is not only a dream or a basic right. It's something I have to grow with without fighting with. And if you make me fight for it, I will take it from your own neck. This is not, it's not, this is, and I take it for me and for the next generation to come, because I don't want my kids to actually live the life I have lived today. And I don't want them to have the same fight. I really would love them to live in a good space, like a good home, free of all those oppressive, selective mechanism of being human. You know, no, I'm sorry, I don't accept to be treated differently, and I don't accept to be treated as a victim as well. And I don't accept for Palestine to be only intellectualized, and I don't accept for Palestine to be an advocacy cause for events here and there or a charity cause. Palestine is a movement of resistance, a movement that must disrupt. If you don't disrupt, you're not doing the right job. But I don't want just people to be teased by just, oh, I've learned. Learning and unlearning is not enough. It is a tool, but it's a step forward. But the system have to feel that disruption happening, you know, in all levels, you know. I think what makes our movement special is building a long-term sustainable campaigns, you know, and actually focusing and having a clear target. If the state is the clear target, it's then you have to have to build, you have to build a campaign that is focused on the states and with concrete different kind of actually goals toward the future, like a short-term goal, a medium-term goal, and a long-term goal. I actually all the time I've started with the arm trades, and I think arm trade is a very important space for tackling state and institution and companies, you know. And I think every country activist must have an arm trade campaign to stop the arm trade and stop arming Israel, you know, as well. I always remember this book by the CIA called How to Ruin an Organization, you know, and I'm actually trying to avoid everything that is written there. And I advise everybody as well to read it, which has to do with building more bureaucracy, building a larger committee all the time after committee, which wastes our times, you know. And that's where most of the organization we build, it's built on an advisory councils that knows and actually aware of what's happening. And also it's built on like a very soft democracy where no everybody is here, but it's very important to everybody focus on a working group. So we have a very selected working group with the selected concrete goals as well. We have to make Palestine strong for others, because Israel is involved having intervention in multiple countries such as Rwanda, Congo, Sudan, Bolivia, many countries in Latin America, you know, Philippines, you know. So seeing how Israel do this kind of militarization interventions with their arm and their like police techniques, and also selling arms to those countries and actually exploiting as well, such as those countries like Congo, for example, they're one of the main exploiters as well. You know, in other businesses, they are very much in the forefront of exploiting these places. We saw with how Israel as a colonial powers have been supporting the South African apartheid clearly, you know. And it's well known that Israel is actually supporting oppressive regime and actually profiting a lot from arming oppressive regime. That's why Israel is central in the Palestinian struggle for liberating everyone, you know. So, and that's where Palestine must be strong. So we kind of move all the causes together.